India is one of the world's largest economies. In terms of GDP, it ranks 5th in the entire world, and in terms of purchase power parity, it is ranked 3rd in the world. But in terms of GDP per capita, we are ranked 144 out of 194 countries. Although as a nation we are doing quite well, but individually we are amongst the poorest in the world. So there is a lot to do. We as a country cannot become rich until we make our people rich and increase our standards of living. So what can be done to make an individual rich and as a whole make our country a superpower? Hi, welcome to Macroscope, and today we are going to discuss how can India become rich. Although it is a very difficult task to excavate our people from destitution, but it is possible. Many countries like Japan, Singapore and China were able to do so. So can we. All we have to do is learn a thing or two from them, capitalize on our strengths and take care of our weaknesses, and we might be able to pull it off too. First, let's look at the strengths that India is gifted with to accomplish this goal. India is the second most populous country in the world, and most of its population is still young, which makes it a very strong workforce. Apart from it, India's location is one of the best, if not the best, in the whole world, with lots of river for irrigation facilities and fertile plains, along with largest available farmland in the entire world. India also harnesses a special wind called monsoon, which brings the rainy season in the country at a fixed period of time each year. It also has a long coastline of which it gets better connectivity from the entire world. The improvement has to be done in three broader categories: agriculture, manufacturing and women empowerment, which I will discuss one by one, starting with agriculture. A majority of India's population is engaged in agriculture or agriculture-related activities, yet it contributes only about 16% of the GDP. India has the most farmland than any other country, but still, we are barely able to produce food for our own consumption, when it has the potential to be a worldwide exporter of a variety of tropical fruits, spices, rice and wheat across the world. So what's stopping us? It's inefficiency in the agriculture sector. Our methods of agriculture are outdated, whereas the rest of the world is using far advanced technologies like drones for surveying their crops or for spraying pesticides. The problem is that most of our farmers are poor and not well educated, so they cannot invest in machineries and better technologies or use better methods of farming to increase their yield, and thus remains poor. And the contemporary system does not help to alleviate this problem. In fact, it makes it worse. The problem is that Indian farmers do not have a lot of choices to sell their produce. Most of these farmers can only sell their produce to a middleman in the mandi. So these middlemen takes advantage of this situation and buys the produce at a very low cost by forming cartels. That is, all the buyers at mandi agrees to buy crops at a fixed lower price so that the farmer, not having any other option, has to sell his produce at that particular price. So the farmer ends up with very low profit or no profit at all. Meanwhile, if a business or an individual wants to buy the produce, he does so from these middlemen, which sell it at a significantly higher price and earns money out of it. So the cost of agriculture goods still remains high. Now, due to low profits, the farmer is not able to invest in better equipments, machineries and fertilizers so as to increase his yield, and the agriculture sector remains inefficient. Moreover, due to lack of agriculture research facilities in India, it is not able to produce high quality seeds which gives excellent yield and are immune to conditions like droughts and floods, leading to low yield. So, if a farmer has options of selling his produce to more than one buyer, he is more likely to make a higher profit, and then he could be helped by agriculture experts appointed by the government or that of a private firm for consultation to how to improve his yield and make even more profit. This would result in a cycle where the farmer earns a profit, he invests it in his fields by purchasing better equipments and using fertilizers to improve his yield, thus making even more profit, and so on. This would make a farmers rich and would give India a food surplus. The more food surplus it has, the cheaper it would be able to sell it to the rest of the world, especially the countries which cannot produce for its own, like Japan. This would make it the largest exporter of food grains and other agricultural delicacies in the world and give a significant boost to the overall economy of the country. Although the government tried to solve this issue by the contentious farm bills, it was not successful in doing so due to lack of proper communication to the beneficiaries. So the government should consult with the farmers and understand their dilemmas and problems and make a comeback this time with avoiding the conflict and being successful with their plan. The next major area is the manufacturing sector. At the time of independence, the major contributor to India's GDP was agriculture, with a contribution of about 52%, with its 85% population working in agriculture and agriculture-related activities. And India at that time was really poor and relied very much on foreign aid from Soviet Union and America. This thing didn't change until 1990s when India brought LPG reforms to the economy, where LPG stands for liberalization, privatization and globalization. which basically means that India had to open up its market to foreign investment and foreign companies and turn its public sector companies to private sector, which gave a major boost to the service sector in fields like IT, and today service sector contributes to about 56% to GDP, which did improve the situation of country, but the only beneficiaries of this boom were a relatively small, English-speaking, well-educated minority, while most of the majority were still engaged in agriculture or very low-paid jobs. This indicates two gap holes. A. The economic boom did not alleviate the manufacturing sector to the fact that most of the finished goods in India today comes from outside, when India totally has the potential to be a worldwide producer. Basically, India is a consumer country when it has the potential to be a producing country. B. We have a large unskilled population that is in a state of destitution and does not have enough opportunities to improve its economic condition. Both of these problems could be solved by establishing a solid manufacturing sector. If India plays its cards right, almost 500 million people can be pulled out of poverty by the next decade. To do this, we need improvement in three major areas: taxes, infrastructure, and industrial facilities. One of the biggest difficulties in India has been its complicated, uncertain taxes that have pushed most foreign companies in need of cheap labor towards China and Vietnam. Although efforts have been made by the government to resolve this issue by the introduction of GST, which combines several state and federal taxes into just one, thereby simplifying the taxes to some extent. But there is still more to do. The problem at the level of customs and the level of disputes with the custom authorities on whether something is subjected to taxes or not makes it very difficult to do business in India. The Indian government is involved in too many tax disputes with its private sector, be it income tax disputes, import duty disputes, or GST disputes. Though our Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi has initiated Make in India to tackle the problem of manufacturing, but high tariffs and other trade barriers might restrict Make in India to just make for India when the opportunity is to make things for the world. Although almost every industry is now open to foreign investment, import tariffs have been continuously increasing, and the import process remains extremely complex, difficult to follow, and time consuming. Apart from these importation challenges, the import taxes are generally kept high because the government wants to help domestic businesses and protect them from international competition. But for industries which are not well developed in India, import is a big requirement. It's simply not possible to become an exporting powerhouse just by yourself without importing anything from anybody. To understand this, let us build up a scenario where you are a smartphone manufacturer, and for this process you need a processor, and India don't have the facilities to produce the chip you need. So you have to import this intermediary good from a country like Taiwan, which has a cutting edge technology in terms of semiconductor chips, on which high import tariff is levied, which increases your production cost and hence your product's cost. Now, if your products compete at the global market, your competition could offer a better product than yours at an even cheaper price, making your products obsolete. This is the problem which every single industry faces. Although the products can compete in the domestic market as foreign products become expensive due to import duties, but the final price remains high enough that only a few people are able to afford it. This could be seen in India before 1990s versus after 1990s, that is after the LPG reforms. Life quality increased dramatically as people could buy products like cars, AC, and other goods at a much cheaper price due to open markets. So more people started spending money, which benefited the company as their sales increased, which in turn boosted the whole economy. Apart from tax issues, India does not have super fast infrastructure facilities, which is very important in this fast world as every second counts in the supply chain. Although the government has been working on it, but we are not there yet. But with the direction we are heading, it looks like we will be there soon. But the major problem is the lack of industrial facilities. It is a mystery as to why a country which is so large has only a few industrial sites when industries should be established in every corner of the country. In states like Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh, due to lack of these industrial sites and job opportunities, there is a large exodus of people to well-developed regions like the capital city, while these states are becoming empty. Even regions like East UP and Bihar, states with such a high population density, also have lack of these facilities. It's literally a mine of diamond which everyone knows about, yet still are not giving a thought for mining. To summarize the manufacturing part, we need to simplify our tax system so it's easier to understand it and open businesses, reduce tariffs and import duty to make it an open market for giving foreign companies a chance to compete, and to work on our infrastructure and open industrial sites in every corner of the country. The importance of women in economic activities cannot be overemphasized enough. I'll take the help of a scenario to give you some understanding. Imagine a household of 6 members in a family, which is quite common and relatable, with 2 grandparents who are unable to work and don't contribute any money to the family, or maybe a pension of 5,000 monthly, a mother and a father, and 2 children with only father as a working member, and let's say he earns 48,000 monthly, which is a decent income in India. But as it gets distributed among 6 members, each member only gets 8,000, which puts a lot of financial stress on the family. But if even the mother was working and earns equally as the father, the family income becomes 96,000, and now each member has 16,000, and then the family is less likely to have any financial problems. But in India, percentage of working women is really low. India ranks 120 among 131 countries in female labor force participation. The female labor participation rate in India is 20.3% as of 2019, which had fallen from 26% in 2005, which has further declined to 16.1% as pandemic hits jobs. That means 8 in 10 women are unemployed and do not contribute to the wealth creation of their family and our country. It's impossible to develop in an inclusive and sustainable economy when half of the population is not fully participating in the game. A report by McKinsey Global Institute has estimated that India could add $770 billion to its GDP by 2025 simply by giving equal opportunities to women. Yet the present contribution of women to the GDP remains at 18%. At 18% of GDP, the economic contribution of Indian women is less than half the global average. Valuing girls and women is a critical factor in making societies more prosperous. A serious emphasis should be laid down in women education, as an educated woman is more likely to enter the workforce than her uneducated counterpart. A stereotype that girls are not smart enough to work and make a living should be eradicated. A girl is equally capable of doing whatever a boy can, be it in any field like engineering, medical, or management. In the home, we need families to see their girls as capable, future working professionals instead of a housekeeping bride ready for marriage as soon as she turns the legal age. And unskilled women should be made beneficiaries of the programs that teaches skills that she could capitalize on, like Skill India. However, education and other such interventions alone are not sufficient. Research shows that even women that have completed skills program and get job tends to drop out in response to family pressures. So bold steps should be taken to change social norms around marriage, work, and household duties. Household responsibilities should be equally divided between men and women. Support for child and elder care must be provided, and work should be done in ensuring mobility to and from work. All of this can remove significant structural barriers for women to access employment. Apart from this, employers should support diversity in the workplace by hiring women and paying them the same wages as men for similar jobs. We also have to provide safe transportation and zero tolerance of sexual harassment in the workplace. Working on the above-mentioned steps would encourage more female participation in the workforce, and improvement in the mentioned areas of agriculture, manufacturing, and women empowerment is sure to make India an economic powerhouse and improve individuals' life quality. That's all for today. If you like this video, make sure to hit that like button to help me crack the YouTube algorithm. And for more such insightful videos, subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. See you next time.